Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to TSCC Radio Stations. I'm your host today, SK. And once again, we have our guest speaker, Peter Fachai, with us to continue sharing his so-called experience in Mongolia. Hello. So say hello to the friends there.
Yeah, hello.
Look at the picture that what Fachai is there. I was asking him, wow, the hair, how so it's very fashion. So actually, how you did that?
The poster, the picture on the poster. Yeah. Actually, that is my actual hair. The reason why it's white is not because I painted or I dyed it, but it's the frozen hair. And literally, it's what happened in the Mongolian winter. It's like minus 40. Okay. And so when you go out and like when you're breathing, even my eyelashes will be like all frozen up.
I see.
Yeah,
I see.
It's like that. And so, yeah.
So it's most of the time very cold weather.
Yeah, very cold.
Yes. It looks very nice. It's like, wow.
Okay. Yeah, some people thought I dyed my hair. Yeah.
Yes. We mistaken because some of them. Okay. So for this week and next week, Peter will be covering in 4 topics that he's going to share about Mongolian, which is the ministry that he's involved in, then followed by the opportunities that is in Mongolian, and then the preparations to be a missionary in Mongolian, and also who should go to this ministry, or this mission. So this week, these sessions, he will be covering more detail on the first 2 topics. Okay. Yeah. And then after that, you remember last week we were talking about Mongolia. I think I have a wrong perception. So looking at the map of the Mongolian, and then I was mistaken that actually it's part of China. Now I realize my history is very bad. It's actually the inner Mongolian that is belong to what Peter is talking is the Mongolia, the blue color badge, correct? Which is the Mongolia by itself is a country, correct?
Right. Yeah. It's an independent country. And the inner Mongolians have the advantage of being able to speak both the languages, Mongolian and Chinese.
Yes.
And also they are kind of like accepted in both countries.
Okay.
But to go to Mongolia, they need a visa actually.
Okay, it's still a custom.
Yeah.
Have to cross a custom. But did Mongolian people speak Chinese or?
No, so the Mongolians in the blue area, they cannot speak Chinese.
Okay.
Right. But the inner Mongolians can speak Mongolia and Chinese.
I see.
Right.
Okay. So without any delay, I would let Peter to start sharing the first topics of today, which is the ministry that is involved in Mongolia for the last 2-3 years, right?
Right. Yeah. So I think I would go with the first one is I was involved in the praise and worship team, which I declined for so many times. Again, at the time my church leaders approached me and they said again, like you should join this, and so I finally said yes with all my with all my flows that I thought were hindering, and my main reason was I thought I was not qualified to be leading the church or the people into worship. But then at the end, it's not about me; it's God working through me, and so I joined the worship team, and that's really where I got my breakthrough in worship, and I was very free with my hand raised up like that, and so that was a really freeing experience.
So at that moment when you raise your hand, right? So since you have been approached many times and you keep rejecting it, so what at that moment when you accepted it, what kind of feeling is that? What actually come to your thoughts that when you raise your hand?
Yeah, so I think, of course, it doesn't mean that whenever raising hand is a sign of spirituality or something like that. But it just, for me, it's an expression of freedom. That I'm not afraid anymore of what people think or what I think about myself. Yes. But it's all about God, and it's all about worshiping Him. And that also because I started to see the need of my congregation more than what I feel. They come here to look at me, they come here to look how I stand and what I dress and all these things. But I realized that most of my congregation are there to worship God, to encounter God, to be comforted by God. And so more than myself and how they think about me, I should be praying for them. I should be thinking about them.
I see.
So, that was really life-changing. Yeah, and the second one is small group Bible studies. So these small groups Bible studies can happen in 2 groups. One is with this praise and worship team.
Yes.
So we're about like 10.
A size of 10.
Yeah, a size of 10. And so I will lead the Bible study there. So every Wednesday we come for practice. And so we will start off with a short Bible study and prayer. And then we will have good food. Sometimes we order really nice pizza or chicken nuggets.
So you do all this in the school premises?
Yeah, it's all in the school premises. We have we run it through school club. So we call it like a school club.
I see.
And so it's under the leadership of students.
I see.
And
so mainly all your participants for this small Bible group is students?
Students and staff.
And the staff of the school?
Yeah. Okay. So like half of us are staff, half of them are the students.
I see.
Yeah, and so I will lead Bible study there. And then after that, we will practice for 3 hours worship.
Wow, that's a long one.
Yeah, it's usually like 3 hours long. So, but usually, of course, we try to learn new songs every week. And that's why it is like that. But
it's mainly English songs, or you do some Mongolian songs?
Yeah.
No Mongolian songs.
Right. Ours is an international school, so we try to keep it. English language. So yeah, that's what it is. And the next one is.
These are all the international.
Yeah, this group that you see in a picture, they are from my staff fellowship.
I see. Your staff fellowship.
The praise and worship team, and then another one is staff fellowship.
I see.
And this is also where I kind of like do Bible study or some just prayer meeting and.
Yeah, it looks like many countries people, a lot of...
right, this is not all of actually, like quite many more there.
It's from Russians, all these...
Yeah, these are from America, Mongolia, India right now there.
A very good interaction.
Yeah, this one is a Mongolian New Year celebration. Oh. So those are the food that we have. So the one in the center there with the grandmother, that's our friend, a Mongolian friend. So we visited her house.
I see.
And so usually just like in the Chinese New Year, the oldest family member would host.
I see. And this is the very traditional Mongolian food, is it?
Right. These are very traditional food.
The plata or what? Is it?
Yeah, they're like kind of like bread, dry bread, and also we have a lot of salad. And then there are the sheep there.
I see.
Actually, then we can cut the meat by ourselves with a knife and we just eat it. Yeah, and so with this group also I involved with the prayer meeting and small group Bible studies as well.
I see.
Yeah, so those are the small group Bible studies I led in a sense.
I see.
Yeah.
But do you welcome public people to the outside from the school to join your groups?
Yeah, of course we do that. But then the good thing about working in the school is that we already have like many people who don't know, the Lord yet. Yes. And so we don't have to actually go out there to reach out, within our premise we have
enough soul to save in the school itself.
To be busy with. And sometimes we can be busy with so many people outside, but then we ignore the people just next to us who actually work with us and observe us. And so many of them, by God's grace, they actually change their perspective about life and even their philosophy of life.
I see.
Even if they are not necessarily Christian yet, at least their perspective, philosophy changed into the line with the biblical perspective. And so that was really, I think, important for us to do. Yeah.
So God put you in the right places.
Right, yeah. So I think that's good for us, and then it's easier as well. Right. And the third one that I did was one-on-one discipleship.
Yes.
And so that's where kind of like my favorite, because we get to drink coffee. We just go to cafe, and then I would meet up with my... I was able to disciple three students, and then the first one was quite tough. He was mostly an atheist, and his philosophy was very different, and so he had lots of questions. And so we studied the book of Romans together.
I see.
Yeah, and then slowly it works on him, and then by the time he left Mongolia, he graduated, and then his mind was completely changed.
He was there for 8 years. Oh, how many years?
Oh, who?
The first one.
The first one, he was there 5 years.
5 years. I see.
Yeah. Okay. So when he first came, his mind was, completely against God and everything else. But he doesn't believe in all that. But he changed at the end. Okay. And then the next one was with the MK, missionary kid, and he had a kind of like a family issue. He didn't want to talk with his dad. Yeah. I think it's a common phenomena in a missionary family. And so we journeyed together again, and at the end they reconciled, and now they're having like family devotion through Zoom every Thursday night.
So the one-on-one is not just discipleship, you also do counseling. Right?
Yeah, a bit like counseling most of the time. So we study the Bible together, we apply, and how does that speak to their lives and all that thing. And so I think those are really powerful for me, and the impact is strong. I still in contact with them. And the last one is with a Mongolian student. And for him, I mostly do like a lot of guidance, career, and even education-wise. And till now, I'm still in contact. I'm still kind of like supporting him so far.
You're actually trying to help them to find the directions of their life,
that's the main thing. They always have this question of like where to go and what is the right thing to do. And as soon as they get into this, how do you say, the biblical principle, they'll be like so scared, to make a mistake, like whatnot. And so I think that's where we guide them. And so those are the main, and also I do the outreach ministries to the outskirts of the city, sometimes to the countryside, but those are not regular ones, only once a month or sometimes.
So you visit families that
we visit families.
Is actually invited you there or just randomly go and pick?
So sometimes it works like we have friends who know them, and so we will contact and we connect through them.
I see.
And so we'll go, and that's when the time we really get to see a lot of. I don't know if we have that picture where we are pushing the car in the snow. I see that we have there. So one time we went to our friend's house, a Mongolian family, and then it was a winter time, and here.
This one?
Yeah, so our car it was a bit uphill. It was just a little bit, not very much, but then the snow was there, so it was slipping off, and so we all got off, and we're trying to push. We all look at our shoes, and it was really cold. But the funny thing was, as we were trying to push, we were slipping away.
It's slipping back, but it's too heavy.
It was quite dangerous, but it was fun. Like, this is what we do, and then we went and reached out to them. We talked with them. We just share, and I think we even supported a family for like a semester, something like that. Yeah. Basically, those are the ministry that I was involved. But in the school, also where we're going to go to the next one. In the school, also I was working as Student Affairs Director. Yeah. And so through that, I was able to interact with many students from different background and for different situations, different reasons. I meet them. Some of them I had to suspend them. Some of them I had to give them warning. But some of them I need to solve
as a
problem for them.
Student Affairs Director, you also are a discipline master there.
Yeah, that's what.
On behalf of the school, is it?
Yeah, my job is very sensitive. I was like the meat between, like in the sandwich, the school, between the school and the students. And so I need to represent both. So I need to justify both and defend both. And so, so I think I get to meet many students, and that's where I also get to see the needs of the students. For example, there was one student, she didn't eat for 3 days.
Whoa.
And we didn't know. She was just in her room. And so at the end...
In the depressions, is it?
Actually, she didn't have money to buy food and stuff like that. And so, but she didn't want to share. And then so at the end we found out, and then so that's when we have to step in and then help whatever we can and get help from other people, fundraise if needed. Yes. And some people, they lost their house, and they got kicked out of their house because of domestic violence or anything else. And so that's where it's very practical for me to help them as well, through, of course, other teachers and other people in the school that can help. They are there ready to help, and we also have a counseling department, so they will also send them to the counseling. Yeah.
So you actually act as a counselor.
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes counselor. Sometimes the strict the school police. Yeah.
So that the student affairs director actually is a very good platform for you to interact with almost all the level of students that it needs, right?
Right. Yeah, I think that was a big. I think many missionaries actually didn't have that experience that I had.
Because just this ministry, you have 4 areas that you cover, and I wonder how you cope with your time, with your study and with all these activities, and the involvement in all this ministry and all the works.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, before I said I rejected, right? So I actually didn't have much to do. I was just studying and teaching.
Yes, precisely.
I really wanted to do those 2 really well, so I was only doing that. But actually, I didn't have peace in my mind, in my head, in my heart. But once I involved all these, even though it sounds like lots of schedules and time,
correct.
But actually I have a lot of peace. And
I can see a lot of joy of you doing all these things, because it's like the way you describe is like you enjoy, and you don't feel, because it's look like very tight schedule to you, you're very occupied every day.
Yeah, but it's a lot of joy in doing that. Yeah, it's fulfilled as well.
And that's the part amazing when you actually, even though you're tired, the God is giving you the strength that you need to do all this stuff, and then you have a joy in doing this ministry. Thanks God for that. Yep. Then how about now we can share the next topics when we go to the opportunity in Mongolia.
Right, opportunities in Mongolia. I think right now I would say the main things are education and business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Education in which part of the education?
So I think they do need English teachers all the time. I think there's a high demand for English teachers.
Yes.
At different levels, like even the beginner like the primary school.
I see.
And so right now there is a lot of focus in Mongolia, especially for the improvement in the primary school education system.
I see.
So because they started learning English so late, and also their education system wasn't as good. Right now it's improving a lot already,
I see.
but in those days it wasn't that good, and so there are a lot of focus on primary school education system, and so which means we need like education policy developers, curriculum developers, and all these things experts. We need those people.
Mainly are on the English language. How about the others kind of subjects?
Right. So it's the same thing. Even for if you can teach math, if you can teach science, if you can teach social science, all these in English, I think it's really good, and that you can have a lot of impact in them.
I see.
And if students know English very well and fluently, they have studied all these subjects in English, then they have higher chances for their career and
better jobs.
Yeah, better jobs, and just it's good for them. And so, which means you'll be accepted more.
I see.
Easier to enter and everything else. And so education, and then we also have a business.
Oh.
And so we need a lot of like small, business, for example, startups. Yeah, entrepreneurs.
Small business.
Yeah,
even like restaurant, cafe, all this.
Right. Yeah. So there are a lot of cafes nowadays.
Is it?
Yeah, and many people are going there to study and to just hang out, mostly to hang out, and so. And the young people nowadays everywhere, I think they're the same.
Yeah, it's similar to Singapore, where they go to cafe, city, go to fast food restaurant.
Right. I worked in the city, in Ulaanbaatar, the capital city of Mongolia. So I think it's very similar vibes everywhere for the young people. And so to really reach out to them, it's where you provide a really nice, cozy, at least worthy of Instagram post.
I see.
And so that's how you do.
So since you talk about cafe, I was thinking our Mana Bakery, one of these days maybe we can go to Cambodia. I know, from Cambodia to Mongolia.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think if you can open like a cafe with a bakery, I think it's gonna work amazing, and we can actually even dedicate a specific room in a cafe for Bible studies or group studies. Okay. And
so most of the cafe is run by all those part-time students, or they run the owners by themselves?
Mostly the owners. I think we don't have much part-time workers as per se, because the pay is not that high.
I see.
And so usually it's a full-time job for most of them. And many of the cafes right now also is run by missionaries already.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
So actually it's a good, that's why you say the youngster will hang around in the cafe, and it's a good meeting point to meet these youngsters to actually spread the gospel to them. Correct.
And they will talk all kinds of topics there. They're just so open there because they're away from their parents and
So that means missionary start to look into this area of connecting to them. Right.
Yeah, I think that's very effective. So I would say that those small businesses and I think also nowadays there are many international corporations that are coming in to Mongolia to help the locals start their own businesses, making what's that, coal, like the charcoal, the heating system and all these things.
Okay.
So, but then they want to make it sustainable. So that's why I think even in Singapore, I think we're very good with sustainability and stuff like that. Yes. So I think if we can make use of those skills and coming in there and introduce and help them, I think they'll be very happy to welcome us. And so I think those are the main big opportunities that we can see. It's not only about preaching, and it's not only about Bible study. Of course, we also need to do the physical needs, the other aspect of the needs. That's how we're gonna win their trust. That's how we're gonna win their friendship.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, we are almost coming to the end for these sessions already. So, if you want to know more about Peter's experience in Mongolia, so please stay tuned with us next week, same time 1:30 in TSCC Radio Station, so that Peter can go in more details about who should go and the preparation to be missionary, and continue to touch on more on the opportunity in Mongolia. So we'll see you all on the next week. Okay, bye bye everybody.
Thank you. See you again next week.